It's as close to time travel as we're gonna get. This Week in Music History with Marty Miller.
Here we go through another week in music history. We'll do it in less than 10 minutes and we will hammer through the decades that were. The week of July 21st until 25th. We will visit 1987 for a game-changing album with soon-to-be banned artwork.
I kind of submitted it as a joke because it was so outrageous.
1990, Roger Waters being a bit scary.
Monster puppets the size of six-story buildings will loom over the audience, and helicopters with searchlights will sweep over the crowd.
And the 27 Club gets a new member in 2011.
People who clearly are affected by whatever's happened, who've been sitting with their head in their hands in the street.
This Week in Music History. A week in less than 10 minutes.
Do you remember when Guns N' Roses gave us Appetite for Destruction? It was this week in 1987. It went on to become the best-selling debut album of all time in the United States. And I don't know about you, but for me, it was an absolute game changer. And I'm pleased to say that I have the one with the band artwork now.
They would also become a controversial band due to some of their lyrical content and their album artwork.
I kind of submitted it as a joke because it was so outrageous. And I was like, you mean you want to use this? I was like, this is great. So then we just went for it.
1990, Roger Waters' The Wall took place at the Berlin Wall in Potsdamer Platz in Berlin to commemorate the fall of the Berlin Wall 8 months earlier. 350,000 people attended and the event was broadcast live throughout the world.
Waters flew out to Berlin a couple of days after the wall came down to look for a concert location. They picked the historic site of Potsdamer Platz, a scrubby area of no man's land between East and West Berlin. Once known as the busiest place in Europe and since 1961 as the Death Strip, it was the heavily mined and guarded area that distanced East from West. Promoters claim the Wall 1990 set will be the largest ever built. Construction has taken over a month. It will feature a specially erected 600-foot-high wall. Monster puppets the size of six-story buildings will loom over the audience, and helicopters with searchlights will sweep over the crowd.
It was this week in 2007 that Don Arden died in his Los Angeles nursing home. Now, Don Arden was Sharon Osbourne's dad, a very ruthless businessman. He was dubbed the Al Capone of pop with his uncompromising business practices. He was behind Black Sabbath, The Small Faces and ELO, and he pushed them all to stardom.
Arden is often painted as a ruthless villain, but he's more complicated than that. Think of him more as the King Lear of music management. He built an empire, then bequeathed it to his daughter, and it was this complex mix of family and business that would be his undoing.
My father had a rule that he would never really put his name on paper. In the early days, it was my mother that was the head of all his companies.
Zipping through a week in a matter of minutes. This Week in Music History, the podcast.
1971, John Lennon and Yoko Ono were shooting the video for Imagine at their house. Time for tea.
She's a lovely mother to me, a lovely mother.
I'm just
I don't know what I'd do without her sewing up my fly, you know.
So, which way, John? Looks this way?
No. I think that it would come like that, wouldn't it?
No, like that. It's like that.
All right.
Eagle Don Henley has a birthday this week. He's turning 78 and always loves to hear how some of his tunes turn out by other artists.
I always enjoyed seeing artists do songs differently. You know, you get a different perspective on the song. You might even get a different meaning out of it.
Were you there in 1995 when R.E.M. and Oasis played Slane Castle?
On the banks of the Boyne today, the final touches to a stage fit for an army. 600 tons of steel and 24 miles of cable make it up. And watching it all, a force of over 200 Gardaí in a security operation estimated to be costing over £250,000.
This Week in Music History, the podcast.
2011. Amy Winehouse officially joined the 27 Club. It's her anniversary this week.
It's been a very sad scene here, actually. There have been people who clearly are affected by whatever's happened, who've been sitting with their head in their hands in the street. There's a very sombre atmosphere here. And although we still haven't had formal confirmation, I've had it confirmed to me by one of the officers here that the incident was in the Winehouse house, and the whole atmosphere is very, very sombre here, as I say.
This week back in 1964, a riot broke out during a Stones show in Blackpool. How did it start? Well, guitarist Keith Richards kicked a lad in the mouth. Well, your man was spitting at the group. So then 30 fans were injured and the damage was estimated at over $4,000. Now, $4,000 doesn't seem like much, but in 1964 it was a fortune. The Rolling Stones were banned for playing Blackpool for 44 years. The ban was eventually lifted and they were able to play Blackpool again in 2008. Isn't that incredible? In 1997, Liam Gallagher was in top arrogance form, and he was given a formal caution after admitted criminal damage following an incident with a cyclist in Camden in North London. What had happened was Liam had reached out and grabbed the rider from the window of his chauffeur-driven car and broke the man's Ray-Ban sunglasses.
It's got all to do with views of the public, alright? Alright, but I'm having happy marriage, so you are the public, alright? Stop asking silly questions. What? Liam, can I look at it? I can't.
This week in music history, a week in less than 10 minutes.
1965 this week. Oh, the scandal, the uproar, the how dare he. Bob Dylan plugged in for his headlining show at the Newport Folk Festival in Newport, Rhode Island. Folk music purists tried to boo him off, but the rest of the audience actually seemed to really like the new electric Bob Dylan. And this week in 1980, AC/DC gave the world their 6th studio album, Back in Black. The first AC/DC album recorded without lead singer Bon Scott, who died in February of 1980 at the age of just 33. Brian Johnson remembers the call to the audition. I don't know if this is true, but it's a great story.
How old are you? I went, what do you want to know? She went, I must know your age. If you are too old, you can. I said, for what? She said, for an audition with a band. I said, which band? She's gone, I cannot tell you this. And I said, well, I'm not coming down to London unless you tell us who it is. I said, it could be anybody, you know, it could be the Monkees. And she said, okay, I will tell you the initials. She wasn't too bright, this woman. She said, it is AC and DC. I went, you mean AC/DC? She went, Scheiße.
And that is a look at this week in music history, July 21st to 25th. My name is Marty Miller. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Let's do it all again next time.
This week in music history, a week in less than 10 minutes.